Our first presentation, we started it, I think, in the second year. It's called a Special Recognition Award. We have individuals and groups in town who just don't fit the category sometimes of an athlete or a builder or a team member, but in their own individual way contribute to sport greatly and uniquely. And we had guys like Mike Campbell, who we recognized with this award. He was playing hockey into his 90s. We had Russell McDonald, who would see around town all the time with the horses. Alex Petrie, responsible for getting in the Waterford Open Golf Tournament. Gary Burke, who refereed over 50 years of basketball. Willie Cormier, who was, the fan in the Waterford. And people like that. And this year, we're going to recognize a group, and that's the Rotary Club. And I'm going to ask committee member Lowell Cormier to come forward and do the induction of the Rotary Club, please. Lowell.
Thanks, Ambrose. I'm here to talk about the Rotary Club, but have another order of business I have to try and accomplish. Obviously, you can't have a Sports Hall of Fame without a significant sports history. And so if you notice those posters on the walls there, those 6 blue posters on the back wall, when I grew up, my father raved about the old pro baseball teams that were in here and talked about guys like Marshall DeVoe and Lionel Petrie and Dougie Petrie and Charlie Pyle. He said Charlie Pyle was the best athlete he'd ever seen come out of Waterford. They were his peers. And then as I got a little older, I ran into a gentleman by the name of Carl Marsh, and it's the same kind of thing. He talked about people that were between my father's age and his age, and talked about the history of sport in the Waterford. So I was listening, but really not cognizant of the magnitude of the caliber of sports town that this is for a small town. And later on, when we started Cole Bowl, I got to know Donnie Blackwood really, really well. I knew him. I watched him play ball. But I got to know him really, really well. And I realized that this guy, I thought, was Mr. New Waterford, because he talked so much about the teams and the caliber of teams and the history. And he often said to me, I wonder how many championships came to New Waterford. So that's the way it went, and I don't know. I think he was planting the seed because he probably knew I could get it done. And but for 35 years later, I decided that I was going to do something. So it took me about a year and a half, and I did some research, a lot of research. And in this town, we have over 300 Nova Scotia or better sport championships, individual. Yeah, they're all documented. And I published it in the community press, and I was looking for feedback. I think the feedback I got, I missed 59-60 Central team soccer. I noticed in an article in the paper, Michael Pee Wee Power was a super heavyweight boxing champ. So I'm looking for feedback because there'll be another edition. Like, I'm sure I missed a lot. And just to give you an idea, 56 basketball championships. Think about that. 36 baseball, 27 soccer, 9 hockey, 20 powerlifting, and that's the McDonald boys. 30 weightlifting championships, and that's a lot of the Corbett boys. 37 boxing championships. 56 horseshoe championships by 2 guys, Buller and his brother, Huey. 27 snooker championships by one Cookie McLeod. 29 dart championships. So I'm looking for feedback. 12 fastball championships. And there's a lot of other individuals, a couple of golf. Billy Burns has a golf championship. Shauna McPherson and her sister won a Nova Scotia Headmasters Championship. So there's probably some I haven't got, but I just wanted to allude to that, and now I'll get into the Rotary. It gives me great pleasure to speak to you this evening and provide a rationale for awarding our Special Recognition Award or Achievement Award to the Rotary Club of New Waterford. I'd like to start out with a very brief history and overview of Rotary. Rotary International is an international service organization whose stated purpose is to bring together businesses and professional leaders and community leaders in order to provide humanitarian service and to advance goodwill and peace around the world. It is a non-political and non-religious organization open to all people, regardless of race, color, creed, religion, gender, or political preference. There are 35,000 member clubs worldwide and 1.2 million members known as Rotarians. The first Rotary Club was formed in 1905 when attorney Paul Harris called a meeting of 3 business acquaintances in downtown Chicago. The men chose the name Rotary because initially they rotated subsequent weekly meetings to each other's offices. Although within a year the Chicago Club became so large, it became necessary to adopt a now common practice of a regular meeting place. In 1922, the name was changed to Rotary International. The Rotary motto is service above self. The 4-way test is a component of the Rotary philosophy. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? The Rotary Club of New Waterford held its first organizational meeting in the Coronation Tea Room on St. Patrick's Day, March 17, 1938. Less than 2 weeks later, on March 28th, the Rotary Club of New Waterford was accepted into the membership of Rotary International as a charter member, number 4639. Some nice names here now. The original charter members were President Harry Hines, Secretary Victor Fisher, Treasurer Kay Bagley. The members at large were J.F. Chesson, L.J. Doucette, Fred Gregor, Jack Gregor, Reverend Charles Harris, Gordon Hillier, W.J. Hinchy, J.T. McMillan, David Morrison, Leroy Traits, and Lloyd Weatherby. In 1997, the club turned the corner and inducted its first female members, the first for a club in Nova Scotia. My good friend Wayne Buzzy Connors, the forward thinker that he is, made the motion to induct the ladies, an event that many consider as a game changer for the New Waterford Club. Sorry, guys. The first 4 ladies were Sister Marie Kelly, Beth Latham, Joan Chesson McDonald, and Dr. Mary Link. I noticed that Buzzy is present here this evening. I told him that if he bought a $40 ticket, I would mention his name. Promise fulfilled, Buzzy, and thanks for the $40. A few interesting tidbits about Rotary. One is that they meet weekly for supper. Over the years, the venues have been the Coronation Tea Room, the Acadian House, I never ever heard of these things, the Tartan Tea Room, the Hut, which was the old Mount Carmel Scout Hall located where the present KOC building is, and that's right here. It's kind of ironic that we're honoring Rotary tonight on the premises of where they had their meals and meetings over 60 years ago. It is interesting to note that in times where no venue existed for regular dinner meetings, the partners of the Rotary men, affectionately known as Rotarians, would cater to meetings held at the homes of Rotary members. I guess that was funny, I don't know. For many years, the Calvin women provided regular catering for the Tuesday evening dinners. Recently, the Salvation Army ladies have catered to the dinners at their hall on King Street. Another interesting tidbit is that for a long time, Rotary had a category system for members. So many business people, so many lawyers, so many teachers. They have since dispensed with that process. My last tidbit centers around fellowship. Fellowship is a key component of Rotary, and as an outsider, I believe it is the glue that holds this club together. I guess the club that parties together stays together. I have heard many wonderful stories about Rotary parties. On several occasions, a visiting evangelist named one Billy Graham had frequented their parties. That's an inside joke. Enough said about that. Historically, another key Rotary fellowship activity was their Rambo weekends. Legends were created on those Rambo weekends. Fellowship was also central to the local clubs' interactions with other Rotary clubs. In the early 80s, they hosted a district assembly and conference, hosting clubs from the other parts of Nova Scotia and clubs from PEI and Newfoundland. Because the club had a member who was district governor, that club earned the right to host the event. At the time, longtime Rotary stalwart, Donnie Blackwood was the district governor. From all accounts, the conference was a smashing success, with a fellowship and hospitality at the forefront. Rotarians, under the leadership of Stella Anthony, were a key contributor to the success of the event, which was also chaired by Buzzy Connors. It'll cost you another $40, Buzzy. Globally, Rotary is recognized for its outstanding efforts in trying to eradicate polio. Locally, the Rotary Club of New Waterford, along with contributing to the polio eradication process worldwide, donates its time and money towards disabled children. The club was also instrumental in promoting and facilitating the Rotary Clinic, which brought specialist physicians from Halifax to the local area on a regular basis to attend to local children, thereby saving parents the cost of traveling to Halifax for appointments. Since its inception, the Rotary Club of New Waterford has always supported the community activities and have been especially generous to youth. In 1968, the club donated $5,000 from the club funds to kickstart the rink campaign. Individual members also contributed to this fund to a total of $10,000. They were also involved in funding Little League Baseball during its formative years, and some of the teams that's honored tonight would have played in those Little Leagues. So it's interesting that we're honoring Rotary on that. The club contributed money to hundreds of sports teams over the years, especially school teams making the journeys to provincial championship. 300 championships, a lot of them are schools, and back in the day we had 3 schools. So every time, if you won a Cape Breton championship, you had to go to provincials, and we needed people like Rotary to help you get there. And who can forget the Rotary Pool, the outdoor swimming area created by Rotary in the St. Agnes area. The current membership of the Rotary Club of New Waterford continues to make donations to the community. The club is small but mighty. The current members of the club are as follows: Paul Muse, Rose White, Hubert Chesson, Linda Boner, Bernie Boudreau, Barbara McDonald, Roger Guillot, Heather McNeil, Basil McGilvery, Laura Scheller, Blaise Poirier, and Duncan Roach. Bill Roach and Donnie McIsaac. Another game changer for the club came in 2015, when the club started the Number for Life draw. The suggestion came from Barbara McDonald, who got the idea from her brother Carson. Under the leadership of Barbara and Joan Chesson McDonald, the draw took off. The profits have enabled the club to make some very significant investments in our community. The reason why they are being honored here tonight is because of the amazing contribution to our youth through sport. They continue to support the rink, along with Cole Bowl and every sport group in the community, along with the sports teams at Breton Education Center. Remarkably, the Rotary Club of New Waterford has donated $52,000 over the last 4 years to youth and sport. This is an unparalleled occurrence, an outstanding investment in our youth. It's kind of ironic to think that most of the time the club existed in New Waterford, the challenge was to fundraise. Numerous auctions, dances, ticket draws were used as fundraisers, and they took their toll on membership, as fundraising is very time-consuming. Fast forward to today, when it seems the biggest challenge the club faces is to collect and count money, and administer a weekly draw. My times have changed, and it's interesting to note that it was two ladies that spearheaded the game-changing draw. Just saying. As I bring this presentation to a close, it is important to note that the Rotary Club of New Waterford contributes to the whole community, not just to youth or to the sporting community. And over the last 4 years, they have invested $240,000 to groups and causes too numerous to mention. This is a mind-blowing accomplishment which allows the club to be huge difference makers in our community. I'm now going to ask everyone present here this evening to stand, if you can, and recognize these wonderful Rotarians as I call Duncan Roach to accept this Special Achievement Award from the New Waterford and District Sports Hall of Fame. Duncan is a designated hitter for the first time in his life, substituting for Paul Muse. Yeah, just grab this, give me this.
Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, I come with trepidation to accept this prestigious award on behalf of the Rotary Club of New Waterford and its president, Paul Muse, who is out of country at the present time, and the members of our club who are present here tonight and those that were not able to be here, and also honorary Rotarians like my good friend Buzzy. Now the tab is $120. Honorary members and past members and those members deceased that are not here in body but certainly are here in spirit. So it is my privilege and honor to receive this Sports Achievement Award bestowed upon our club by the New Waterford and District Heritage Sports Hall of Fame. As was mentioned by Lowell, our club was established in 1938, and we have been serving this community of New Waterford, New Victoria, River Rhine, Lingan, Scotchtown for 81 years. Our club, in its infancy to the present time, has set a number of goals. First and foremost among these goals was to provide support in terms of financial donations, and you heard the amount that has recently been donated, and also human support to a multitude of sports teams and sports athletes. We have guided many young lives in a variety of sports as outlined by Lowell in his presentation. Some of these sports have included baseball, hockey, basketball, soccer, boxing, tennis, golf, track and field, of which I was very proficient in all. And I can't understand why I'm not being inducted into a multitude of sports and also human endeavors, both locally and internationally. And we have provided funds for individuals also to attend sports leadership camps and conferences over the years. It has been also our purpose to ensure that young people have a chance to participate in sports, no matter their social, financial, athletic background and ability. For being involved in sports, we know that we will be changing people's lives for the better. Being a Rotarian, as my fellow Rotarians can attest, is much more than just giving back to one's community. It is also about enhancing the skills, the experience, and the enthusiasm of those whom we are supporting while making great and wonderful friendships along the way. We are deeply honored tonight that you have formally recognized our achievements of 81 years in this community, in the world of sports, the world of youth, also national and international projects. A small club in this community that has indeed achieved wonderful results. The Rotary Club of New Waterford is a very diverse club, and all of our 14 members embrace all races, cultures, and religions as we give support at our weekly meetings. Again, thank you for this achievement award, and we pledge as a Rotary Club that we will continue to give service above self in the years to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Duncan, for your remarks, and congratulations to you and the other Rotarians that are here this evening. Thanks, folks.